Ah, there we go. OBS is having a bit of a brain fart, it appears. All right. So today we're going to do some aviation. And I'm going to take out the Warrior for the first time. Actually, not the first time. I've taken it out a couple of times. But this is going to be the first attempted proper flight. Attempted being the operative word. I've got some of my sim rig hooked up today, and I've got I've got two cameras on the go. I've got this one up here. I've got one sort of pinned down on the Bravo throttle. And we're taking out the Piper Warrior today. That's going to be the plan. So my idea is, because it's a beautiful, beautiful day. You see my Bravo down there. My arm's going to get in the way of that, I'm afraid. But it's a beautiful day. So what we're going to try and do is take a nice flight from Bournemouth all the way over to... I'm going to have to locate it manually here. EGHI, I think it is. EGHI, Southampton International. We'll set that as our arrival, but it's going to be a VFR, and what I want to do actually is come down here. Just fly along the coast. And, up the channel. What would be really nice is if there were actually some sort of shipping in the docks area here. That would be pretty cool. So okay, that's it. VFR direct GPS, and yeah, that's pretty much our route today. I'm trying to sort out some sort of some kind of why is that not working? I'll do it manually. I'm going to attempt to test out the PA-28 Warrior 2's autopilot. I haven't tested it yet. The version I've got is a beta version, so I'm not going to be doing a cold and dark startup because it's broken. If you're wondering why nobody else has done a cold and dark startup, that's probably why. I haven't yet figured out what the issue is. There are some things about the PA-28 Warrior which are quite interesting, let's say. Button positions and icon positions and stuff like that, making life somewhat more difficult. It's not the most ergonomically designed aircraft on planet Earth, let's just say that. But what I actually wanted to do, and it's a work in progress, it's going to be part of the new office, is have proper charts and systems coming up so that you can see. We're looking at EGHH here, which is Bournemouth, or Bournemouth International, I think it's called now. So at the moment, it's not quite up and running. It's my first day of trying it out, so it's there-ish. I might use it a little bit. You can't see on my yoke, but I've got my mobile phone attached to that in a pretty cool way. This will all be shown to you properly when the office gets unveiled, if that's the correct word. When it gets shown to you, when it's finished and it's ready to be working properly, then I'll hook all that up. We're not quite there yet. Today's the first day. So what I have to do is set up all my systems so that I have got the system set up and ready to fly, because if I don't do that, then we're going to stall the engine and then we won't be able to start it again, possibly. I have occasionally managed to do it, but there does seem to be possibly a bit of a bug or something which is causing some problems with the cold and dark startup system. Okay, so I guess we're just going to fly into it, aren't we? Alt-MN, there we go. Let's go fly. So, yeah, this is going to be pretty much a relaxed flight today. More than anything, I'm just trying out the systems. I'm not very happy with the way that Microsoft interprets my inputs off the Honeycomb. They still feel far too inconsistent, I think is the best way of explaining it. There's a massive delay between throttle inputs from my hand to actually happening on the aircraft itself. I've had some weird stuff. I uploaded a video yesterday, some weird stuff where if I turn the yoke to the left, the yoke in the aircraft turns to the right, and it constantly wants to turn right. Not sure if maybe one of these unused axes are maybe causing that problem. There's a lot of troubleshooting that goes with flight simulation, as I'm sure you're more than aware. So it's a bit of a work in progress. I literally hooked this up yesterday, and
Tower Piper Golf, Sierra India, X-ray Tango at runway 26 ready for departure to the east.
Very much a work in progress.
Golf, Sierra India, X-ray Tango altimeter 29er.9er to wind 272 at tree. Departure to the east approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 26.
So my Logitech autopilot doesn't seem to be working as expected. This Piper Warrior 2 does not have altitude control, so yeah, we don't need to worry about that too much. Oh, I meant to start myself in one of the gates. I've accidentally started myself on the taxiway coming up to the runway, but that's okay. We'll just roll with that. We're not doing anything technical today. It's very much a trial and error type scenario. Got the G6T livery on the Warrior 2. Absolutely my favourite. Being a Brit, of course, I'm biased, but I actually do think it's probably one of the best. All right, so we're about ready to taxi out. Get ourselves in a ready to fly state. I think we're good. Head tracking is really aggressive right now. Things I'm going to do over here, I'm going to just make sure that all the equipment is off as it should be. We're ready for takeoff. We'll have a co-pilot. Bonne chance. And get rid of that tablet there. Now down here behind the yoke, there's an avionics button which you cannot get to from this view, and it's really tricky to get to overall. In addition to that, your RPM dial is here, which is obviously constantly hidden by the yoke arm. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass. As is the autopilot, which also appears to be somewhat cream crackered. So I can turn the autopilot on using my autopilot system. I can change heading, but I can't set heading. Or maybe that's how it works. This is an incredibly primitive system. Oh, that's weird. Turn autopilot on and the yoke instantly turns to the right. Now it's very difficult to know whether these issues are related to yeah, that's weird. As soon as I turn autopilot, let's see if I turn autopilot on the Bravo, see what happens there. Does it actually turn on? I don't think it does. Maybe I've got to bind that. So if I use the Logitech autopilot button, you can see that it works, but instantly causes the yoke to pitch to the right. Now, is that actually doing anything externally or not? Yeah, it is. Look at that. Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to use the Logitech autopilot system then as a result of that. That's quite concerning. That may well be what was causing me issues in my flight last night. I was trying to do a landing flight. One of the challenges in the Cessna 208B Caravan. The yoke input was doing the exact opposite of what I was doing. Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason. Okay, we're not going to do too much craziness today. We're not going to use the GPS system because I haven't learned how to use that yet. We're basically just going to have a nice VFR flight and see if we can't get some autopilot working. Right. Let's come into the controls. Let's go to Bravo. For some reason, I thought this was going to be pre-configured. How wrong was I? Auto pilot. So, rather than having an on and an off, I kind of need a toggle. There we go. Nope, I'm sure I just saw it there. Toggle, autopilot, there it is. Okay, so what we're going to do is... No. Whoa, what's going on there? Here's this one. You are trying to assign an action to a device that is not selected. Oh, okay. No, I'm not. Nope, definitely not doing that. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so the Bravo throttle quadrant does not see this Bravo throttle quadrant button as part of the Bravo throttle quadrant. That's quite a problem. Just whacked my camera. It's a bit of a problem. So we're not going to be able to use that. We're going to have to use the mouse. Now, is that a problem with... The camera's just fallen over. Damn it. Don't like this camera arm. Doesn't seem to stay where I put it very easily. I did just punch it though, I suppose, as in its defense. Okay, so we need autopilot toggle. See if that works. I doubt this will work. I now go toggle space. No. Toggle autopilot. What? Why is it picking up an axis? You are trying to assign an action to a device that's not selected. But it is. It is my Bravo throttle quadrant that I am pressing the button on. Why is you being so stupid? Something somewhere is giving an input to something that it's not supposed to be. We'll try one more time. No. What the hell is all this? Maybe if I come out of it, I can go back into it. There we go. So all this time it was Microsoft being an absolute douchebag, or is it Honeycomb? You never really know, do you? You can identify a problem. Trying to figure out who's responsible for it is a whole different kettle of bananas. Autopilot attitude hold no, altitude hold no, back course flight level change heading. There it is. Right. This is probably the one we're going to use most. Validate. Oh, I nearly cleared it. And we don't really need anything else, do we? Wing leveler. Altitude hold. We don't have that in this particular craft. Oh, why is that not working? Change my... Oh. That's jolly interesting. OBS scene. Oh, well, that is interesting. I just learned something new there. Accidentally stumbled into something very cool. I'm not going to tell you about it now because it will take ages. Okay, right. Well, that should fix the problem. So if I press that button now... There we go. So on the autopilot, trying to control it on the wrong thing now. This is all new, learning as we're going. We got heading, we got nav, we got approach, and we've got rev. What's rev? Rev is reverse back course. Oh, reverse mode is for use in tracking the localizer back course, inbound and front course, outbound 45-degree automatic intercepts, crosswind correction and tracking are as described in the approach mode section above, except that response to radio signals is reverse. Okay, that's interesting. So if you're doing an A to B and B to A flight, you can just press that and that automatically reverses everything, I think. Assuming. Gonna have to read more into this, obviously. Navigation mode has an automatic 45-degree VFR LOC intercept angle. The nav annunciation will illuminate when nav mode is engaged. When executing an intercept, the rate at which the aircraft is closing upon the selected radial is determined by the computer, and the proper time an on-course turn is initiated. The autopilot will automatically intercept, capture, and track and correct the crosswind on any desired VOR radial the pilot selects. That's kind of cool, considering how old this is. So we need nav and approach. We need to add both of those. Okay, fine. Let's do that. We need nav, approach. Approach. Stick the old approach button in. Validate. And could it be that one? I think it's that one. It should be called... I wish they'd sort of be more consistent with their naming if that's the case. Well, that's the back course. Look, that's in there. Which I assume is rev. Altitude, attitude, we don't have either of those. Flight level change, we don't have that. Localizer hold, I'm guessing it's that. That's got to be the nav, right? Let's go with that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sort of learning as I'm playing. I haven't flown for months. And prior to that, I hadn't flown for quite a while either. So I am definitely rusty at best. All right, so we should now have... all things going well. What's going on with my head tracking? Oh, there's too much light coming in. Excuse me whilst I just go and close all the curtains. When the light comes in and starts bouncing off the wall, sometimes it messes up the head tracking. Yeah, the head tracking is really aggressive for some reason today. Really, really aggressive. I need to smooth that out somewhat. Centralize. Yeah, it feels a bit more controllable. And actually, the pitch is also a little bit aggressive. It's very dependent on which head tracking device I have plugged in. Discovered. Right. Well, thank you for sticking with me this long. We should now finally be able to get our flight underway. Hopefully I've got enough hard drive space for this. Wasn't expecting quite so many issues. So we'll assume that all pre-tests are done. The Piper Warrior does come with checklists, although some of them are broken. For example, before takeoff, let's reset that page. If you click on tick item, for some reason, oh, it does today. Maybe it's not this one. On some of them, it doesn't drop down to the next thing. There's a few issues like that. It's very difficult to know whether it's a Piper Warrior issue or whether it's to do with Microsoft itself. We've already seen a few Microsoft problems, and it has numerous amounts. Right, so we have fuel, we have a running engine, we've got the left engine selected down here on the fuel selector. We don't need flaps because it's a super long runway. Let's just charge up and go. One thing you'll notice that when we start heading down the runway is that when we get to a certain speed, it will kick out to the right. Now, I don't know if that's realistic to the real thing. I've got the real documentation for this aircraft and there's no mention of it. So I don't know if that's a bug or whether it's related to the aggressive rudder controls that Microsoft Flight Simulator still seems to have. Let's power up. We'll drop the handbrake and away we go. The tiniest amount of right rudder required to keep us straight. And we're coming up to 60 knots now. Should just start lifting off the ground. Oh, there you go, there's that aggressive kick. This time it went to the left. First time ever, maybe because I was anticipating it coming to the right, I don't know. But it's a beautiful aircraft. We are officially airborne. And of course, I don't need to mention how accurate and how fantastic Microsoft Flight Simulator is in regards to ground detail. It's simply incredible. Okay. I'm not going to be doing radios today, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to AI control that over to my co-pilot here. I'm just going to be VFR flying, basically getting used to the aircraft, seeing how it feels. And yeah, I've got to say it feels pretty good right now. So let's head down here to the coast. Basically our VFR's points of interest, or points of, what do they call them? Points of determination? I just make that up? It's quite possible I did. It's basically going to be the piers and the coastline itself. But we'll have a nice little fly down there. Probably about 1,500, maybe 2,000 feet. Never seen anybody do this in real life, except for during the air show, where some of the aircraft are flying super low level. Incredible. If you've never been to the Bournemouth Air Show, as much as the disruption that having millions of people turn up to the town cause, I highly recommend it, because it is unlike any other air show that I've ever seen, and I've seen a few in my youth at least, and yeah, definitely worth dropping into Bournemouth for the weekend, checking that out. Absolutely sensational, and there's so many good spots to sit in. Most people go down to the beach. I like to go up to the cliffs. Well, I like to mix it up a bit, but the beach gets absolutely chocker full of people, and I'm not a big fan of people. People irritate me. A lot of people are quite rude and ignorant, and that winds me up very quickly, so I tend to avoid the beaches.
Timer India X-ray Tango leaving my airspace, frequency change approved.
Okay, here we go.
Coordinates Tower, Timer Golf, Sierra India, X-ray Tango frequency change. Coordinates approach Piper Golf, Sierra India, X-ray Tango is type Piper Warrior 5 miles southwest of coordinates 1,600 feet. Request, flight following.
Timer Golf, Sierra India X-ray Tango Bournemouth approach. Squawk 2712.
Doing a fantastic job.
712 Piper India, X-ray Tango.
If you look at the radio details here, they should change as she's changing radio frequency.
Miles southwest of Bournemouth.
119.40 was supposed to be on, and that doesn't quite match.
Roger Piper India, X-ray Tango.
We're not doing any nav stuff today, so oh, that stutter there. All right, bring our RPM down to about 2200. Could be cruising speed. We'll dip our left wing and start following the coastline. Should be Bournemouth Pier sticking out there. There's one area that I think, actually the last time I came down here and checked this out, the terrain detail was pretty horrific. Not very good at all. Looking at it today, I can see some details there that weren't present before. It looks, I think it looks a little bit better actually. And that is, I believe, Bournemouth Pier right there. Boscombe Pier should be just out of sight. Certainly some landmarks. Not that I've ever seen them from this altitude, but yeah, they do appear to be accurate. To a point, of course, to a point. Magnificent cafe down there, by the way. Absolutely sensational. There's some of the best food. Beautiful, beautiful location right on the beach. They do fantastic sandwiches. They do fantastic milkshakes, burgers, all that kind of good stuff. Really, very, very awesome indeed. That's Boscombe Pier. And it's between those two piers, actually, that the Bournemouth Air Show likes to promote itself, but in all honesty, it goes all the way up there to the little pointy out, sticky out bit, which is Hengersbury Head. And basically, you know, if you live in the area or you're based anywhere in the area, then you can see Battle of Britain flying overhead, Red Arrows, the Typhoon, all sorts, the Eurofighter, helicopters. We've had Chinooks out here, Really, really, really impressive stuff. If you've never been to the Bournemouth Air Show, you are seriously missing out. Speaking of missing out, I was up high, very up high, on one of the cliff tops, and I forget the name of the aircraft now. It's going to irritate me. If I try and remember it, it's going to do my head in. But it was quite an iconic aircraft, not one that I knew about prior to the announcement of it flying on that particular day, but it flew at the level of the cliff, and I could see the pilot's hands, I could see his fingers. I mean, I was so close to him. If I had my camera, which I'd had all day, and I put it down just for 2 minutes because we were waiting for this aircraft to turn up and it had been delayed, I just put it down for 2 minutes, and yeah, it popped up right at that very, very moment. It was an incredible thing to see, but I just wish I'd captured it on camera. But them's the breaks. So this is Hainsbury Head, or Hengistbury Head, depending how you want to pronounce it. Another area of natural beauty. Had some unfortunate incidents there over the years. Not myself, but people falling to their deaths and stuff. It is a dangerous area if you're messing about on the cliff tops, obviously. Also had a bit of landslide going on there. We're losing a bit of altitude here, not really paying enough attention. Just below 1,000 feet right now. Increase the throttle ever so slightly and level ourselves out. So in the Warrior we got these wonderful interactive elements, which I can normally push right up against the windscreen without issue, but today it's being a bit of a pain in the ass. Doesn't quite get in the way of the sun today, which is a bit annoying. Not the end of the world. Okay, so our heading indicator currently facing north. We want to go east. Probably stay on east for at least a little bit. And let's see if we can use the old, see if it doesn't screw up everything. So autopilot is on, heading is on, and we're doing a little bit of swishy swaying, but we are, I think, holding course. Yeah, that seems to be working. Now, in all honesty, this particular... Oh, look at this.
Cyber India X-ray Tango, contact approach on 130.55.
Isle of Wight there.
130.55 Piper India X-ray Tango.
So close it looks like you could swim to it, but I swear to God, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Piper Golf, Sierra India X-ray Tango approach altimeter 29.92 continue as planned.
Still losing the smallest amount of altitude here. I'm just gonna up the RPM just a bit. We should be at 22,500. We were actually a little bit below that. I'm not flying. It's like a pleasure flight today. So as long as we don't crash, I'll consider it a success, to be honest with you. Okay, let's turn our heading ever so slightly here. Just to stay on that coastline. Whew. Significant banking. I like that. Very nice indeed. There's an interesting section of ground we're coming up to here. Not overly familiar with that section of land. Looks like an incredible beach. A man-made thing? Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Doesn't look natural to me. Could be wrong. I've also never done this flight before, so I'm not entirely sure if we're nearing Southampton already, because that looks like a section. Oh, there it is. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, no, actually it is. Oh, no, it's not. No. Yeah, we have a little bit of viewing to do. Alright, so I can override the nav. That's interesting. Let's jump back in and see what's happened there. So I've turned hard to port, I was going to say, just to see what would happen. And it's disconnected the autopilot and the heading indicator, so I'll turn it back on and straighten the aircraft up. What it won't do is maintain altitude, of course. Just gonna go full throttle for a bit, climb back up to 2,000 feet. And then bring us back to, well, maybe 1,500 feet actually. And then bring us back to 22,500 RPM. And we should be trimmed out for level flight at that configuration. Emphasis on should, of course. So I guess I should talk a little bit at least about the modelling of the aircraft. I mean, you can see yourself, it's of a very, very high standard. I just love these scratch mark dirty effects on the windows. It adds so much to the realism. I think about there, it's 22,500. Put it up to 23 and just get that last 100 feet in the bag. It really is a very glorious coastline, the south coast. I would absolutely love, and in fact it's on the cards, it is on the cards. The wife and I both like the idea of getting not necessarily a camper van, but something that could be utilized as such to just basically drive along the coast. You know, drive south, hit the coast, and then turn east and explore up there and just see how many fantastic little unknown pockets of land we can stumble across. And I think this is the thing, isn't it, about Microsoft Flight Simulator, is how clever it's been in implementing this. By far it's its most defining feature. I don't find the flight model to be particularly realistic, and it's full of bugs. Still, I mean, absolutely full of bugs. But then, I guess the problem is, it's just so big. It's such an enormous application. It just covers so many things. It's so clever in that regard. I give them massive kudos as well for having kept it a secret for so blooming long. See, that looks like the Southampton Channel, but that's way too early. It's not. Or is it? Difficult to tell. There should be two channels, one just off to my... Yeah, this is our turning. Okay. We're going to try and autopilot this in as far as we possibly can.
Southampton Tower Piper Golf, Sierra India, X-ray Tango is 11 miles, south 1,400 feet with echo to land. Piper Golf, Sierra India, X-ray Tango, Southampton Tower. Altimeter 29.9 wind 272 entry. Fly left downwind runway 20. Make left downwind runway 20 Piper India, X-ray Tango.
I'm turning a bit too sharp and a bit too early there. Go back to that same heading. Let me have a look at my chart. Sadly, that's not my charts. I want... Okay, why is that not coming up? Okay, there we are. So, we want to come round 2. So runway 20. Oh, just knocked my phone off my just knocked my phone off my yoke. Ordinarily I look at my phone for these chart informations. Trying to do it on the PC is proving to be a bit complicated. Right, so I should have turned way before now. It's proving more difficult than I expected. So we're a little bit off route here. Nearly landed at EGHF. Okay, so we're going to have to come around. So I basically, that move I made earlier was the correct move, and I kind of ballsed it up ever so slightly by getting distracted. Look at the VFR. Okay. Let's say the autopilot's quite effective. It's doing its thing. It's doing the job all right. Lost quite a bit of altitude there. But I guess coming in on 1,000 feet is actually more desirable. So yeah, now if you look at some of the textures on the external wing riveting, sometimes I feel like they look a little bit blurry. Now I haven't been flying for a long time, so I can't remember what my configuration is, but when you look at the cockpit, the details on the cockpit are of a very high standard on the most part. There was something in here though that I saw that looked a little bit blurry as well, but A, it's still in beta, B, I'm not sure what my actual configuration is for Microsoft Flight Simulator, so there's a good chance that I haven't got the detail up to 100%. But, I mean, this is a glorious, glorious looking aircraft. There's no denying that. It's really fun. I think that's our destination over there, isn't it? Okay, so I think I'm going to hand fly this next bit. Still losing altitude ever so slightly here, which is actually spot on. I'm going to wait until I've passed the airport and then turn north and do a left-hand pass onto runway 20 and see if we can land. I've landed this aircraft a couple of times, but don't think... I mean, I had a couple of smooth landings at the beginning, but since I got my full rig set up, I've struggled to get really smooth landings. Let's disconnect the autopilot. So we are now in command. You can see St. Mary's is there. We'll do 1,000 feet swing over that. Southampton is one of the only cities in the UK that's actually had a full makeover system implemented, probably because so many people fly here. You can see there, that is quite clearly a football pitch, and quite clearly Southampton's St Mary football pitch there in all her glory. We've even got some trains there, you may notice, which is pretty darn cool. Alrighty, I need to get myself trimmed out here. Southampton International, right there.
Piper India, X-ray Tango Wind 272 entry. Cleared to land runway 20.
Roger that.
Cleared to land runway 20 Piper India, X-ray Tango.
Down to 1800 RPM. I'm going to have a notch of flaps on this. Round we go. I think this is the second time I've landed at Southampton Airport. I say that loosely because I've actually yet to land at Southampton Airport. That was a bit skew with. Bad pilot, bad pilot. Now one of my system rig issues I've got at the moment is that my yoke still twists in a way that it's not meant to. I'm a little disappointed in that. I've got a solution in mind. Hopefully we'll get it working soon enough. Right, let's see if we can actually get her on the ground gently today. Oh, not the best landing in the world. Not by any coconut.
Piper India, X-ray Tango, turn next taxiway.
Roger that.
Piper India, X-ray Tango, contact ground on 118.205. 118.205 for Piper India, X-ray Tango.
Where are they going to send us? Anywhere? Nowhere? Let's see if I can bring up the chart here. So we got hangar 1, 2, 3, terminal building. Okay, so I think regardless of where we should be going, we're going to be going right. over to one of the hangar buildings. In fact, probably here looks pretty good, actually. Truth be told. For some reason I was expecting ATC to direct me to a parking spot, but doesn't seem to be on the cards. Put ourselves in here, this will do. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little flight. I mean, it was nothing serious. It was sort of a little look at the Warrior, I suppose, but ultimately it was about trying to get my systems working, which they're still not, but we're one step closer, and I kind of feel like, forgive me if this is a wrong assumption, but I kind of feel like whilst I'm sort of configuring everything and setting stuff up, it makes sense to at least get some gameplay footage out of it to share with you guys. I'm not what do they call them? What do they call YouTubers? Not encouragers. I can't think of the word. Damn my broken brain. Yeah, I'm not really one of them. I'm just a sim fan. You know, I enjoy simulation of all sorts, and I just find it interesting. Even the annoying bits, like trying to set your autopilot up and running into problems, I just find it all interesting. I mean, frustrating, yes, of course, but you know, that's part and parcel of being a flight simmer, is having to overcome these issues constantly. So that's why I share this stuff. And I mean, if that's not interesting to you, then I completely understand. I'm a bit of a weirdo, I guess, in that sense, that I just assume everybody is interested in all the irritating bits as well as the good fun bits. And there was some fun in that flight. I enjoyed it anyway. Let me know in the comments if you want to see any more of this kind of stuff. I'm going to be doing more with the Warrior because I want to put a review out on it. It's a little bit difficult at the moment because, like I say, the cold and dark is broken. There's one thing I was going to show you here. I sort of stumbled across it or mentioned it earlier. Avionics button is right over here. And you still can't see it. It's there. It's like right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself here, reset my head track, and then I'm going to lean across. No, it won't let me do it. Put a limit on how far I can lean across. So what you have to do is you have to use the cameras to get around there to turn on the avionics. Now what I haven't been able to do, which is quite irritating, is bind my avionics buttons to that avionic button. It doesn't seem to work. Same with this one here. You'll see that the fuel pump is still on. Now I've got the fuel pump bound to this button down here. If I do the one next to it, you can see that the pitot heat works, but I can't seem to bind the fuel pump. So the fuel pump and the avionics button that's hidden behind this yoke that I can't show you. I can't remember how to switch to Copilot's view. That is very much where I think if I can use this. Not happening at all. Yeah, so those are the two buttons I cannot seem to bind. There's a few other buttons that I'm going to have to work with. Obviously, turning on autopilot. You've already seen this bug. Turning on autopilot on the Logitech. Oh, it's not doing it now. You can see it's still making the yoke move a little bit. Maybe it's because the heading bug was on. So turning on autopilot with, if you look down here in the bottom left, autopilot being on should not make the yoke turn to the right. but hitting the heading button obviously makes it go crazy all over the place. Although, when I hit the heading button, it doesn't seem to do anything. Right, so on the Logitech autopilot, AP on, heading on, not working. But it is making the yoke react most aggressively. So if I turn that off and use the AP on the Bravo, again, immediately makes it behave aggressively. But if I hit the heading bug, the heading indicator, then the heading actually comes on both the Logitech and the Bravo and the aircraft. So I feel like the Logitech autopilot might be causing me a few issues here. Certainly feels like the problem. Okay, so there's plenty for me to get on with, lots of bug fixing to work out before I can even start taking, you know, flight seriously. I love doing the whole radio thing. I think a lot of people quite like that. But there's too many other things I've got to learn and work out and remember before I get to that point. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure. It's nice to get back into the flight simulation arena. I haven't done anything like this for such a long time. I've missed it, I really have. So if you're enjoying it, that's great. Let me know in the comments and I'll keep more content coming. Maybe shorter videos, I don't know. Longer videos, shorter videos, about the same. I don't know. You're going to have to teach me effectively. But maybe I can mix it up with some long, short and indifferent stuff. What is that? Oh, I know what that is. I know exactly what that is. Fuel pump, which I can't turn off. That's what that noise is. Okay, cool. Well, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. This is a great aircraft. It's lots of fun to fly. I'm going to have some fun with this as well, the timer, which I haven't even started using yet. But it's really cool. My original Logitech yoke had that on it, and I kind of miss it actually. So it's really nice to have it in this aircraft. I think it's a really nice feature, which I haven't spoken about and I should have done. Anyway, I'm gibbering and jabbering on way too much, so I'm going to say thank you very much. Goodbye. Take care of yourselves until next time. Goodbye.